Welcome, and thank you for tuning in to Lady K Chat, a podcast that is designed for men and women to become better versions of themselves, which is broadcast every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Various subjects will be spoken upon, such as relationships, health and wellness, personal development, wealth building, children, and so much more. She is a two-time Amazon best-selling author, an international speaker, and life coach. She is Lady K. And now for your host, Lady K.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lady K Chat podcast. You are with your favorite host, Lady K. And today, in the whole month of December, I am talking about holiday joy. And today, I'm going to talk about joyful relationship because, yes, they do exist. And this is a hot topic and never gets old. But I'm going to say this. I do have the lovely Miss Lourna Charles with us from GraceLi Counseling Services. And I'm going to let her speak her spiel. But before I do, I have to say this. Let me tell you something. In order for you to have a joyous relationship, you need to have a healthy relationship. And Ms. Lourna Charles, I know you're going to piggyback off of this. Welcome.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah, so in your perspective, Lourna, what does healthy look like to you? Or from a standpoint from a therapist?
Okay. Well, a healthy relationship is one that you are able to express yourself to your partner, right? One that I don't have to fear that if I say this to her or say this to him, he's going to be explosive or get angry with me, right? A healthy relationship is one that I can be vulnerable with you. I don't have to have my filters, my guards up. I can just be myself and know that I am loved and you receive me in the whole of me. And a healthy relationship is one that your partner feels at home and can comfortably share, what's bothering him, what's bothering her. Someone, we're like best friends. We can share with each other and be vulnerable with one another. And that, to me, that's a healthy relationship.
Absolutely. I do have a question for you. Do you feel because when people come together as one, like, they say, I want to be in a relationship, do you feel sometimes it can deter from being unhealthy because they bring in all what's the word I'm looking for? All the baggage from
Baggage.
relationships and,
Right.
things that they taught themselves and things that they see maybe in their parents or their grandparents, so they don't even know what healthy looks like?
Sometimes people get so comfortable in the dysfunction, it no longer is dysfunctional to them. To them, this is normal, right? And I always tell people, before you even enter into a relationship, sit down with yourself, evaluate what you're looking from that partnership. And I know the past summer, I did a series called, Relationship Goal, and I discussed, just having core values, sitting down and discussing with yourself what it is I want from my partner and making that very, very clear. Because the fact is, if you go into a relationship, you don't have a roadmap, you can get lost in there. You can bring all your baggages because you're not checking yourself, right? So having a system where you can check off what you want from a partner, not only do you enter the relationship more secure, you choose people that is secure within themselves and can provide what you're looking for.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, by you saying that just gives me confirmation about my transformation. And just real briefly,
Nice.
I'm going to share my story because early, like maybe mid last year, I had an epiphany myself. And I was dealing with someone, he was a really nice guy, but then I also realized, we all carry baggage, but the type of baggage that he was carrying, I want no parts of that because he was not ready to identify and work on that area of his life. And that was very needed because I realized I was at a place and the things that he did, it irritated my spirit. And I said, I love you, but I love me more. And I cannot do this.
Good.
I released him. When I released him, I'm pretty sure y'all see a whole new glow on Lady K. And I'm going to tell you why. But just like Lourna said, I said, you know what? This is what I want in a man. This is what I don't want. And God, you're going to send him. So a flock of men kept coming my way. And I was like, that ain't it. That ain't it. So the friend that I had that we didn't even like pay each other no attention like that. We kind of connected, and I do have to say he brings me so much joy. Like you said,
Wow.
I can talk to
Wow.
him about certain things about without him getting offended. We can have
Mhm.
adult conversations without
Mhm.
screaming with one another because I came from that world. I grew up with screaming
Right.
and yelling, and I had to do the work on myself. So you hit it right on the head, Miss Lourna, when you said take the time to like know yourself and get some of that
Sit with yourself.
right, because it's not fair for you to bring that
No.
baggage into the next
Exactly.
relationship.
Exactly.
So that was
Congratulations, lady. Congratulations on your transformation.
thank you.
Yes.
Guess what? These past, I think we've been together for 7 months. These past months has been so joyous, and I know it's early. But
Aw.
the key thing is the foundation is the friendship.
Yes. Yes.
We had a
Yes.
friendship, so that's why it's able
Yeah.
to flow. And I think that's also great too, a part of having a joyous relationship. The
Exactly.
friendship. Can you talk about when people don't take the time to get to know each other, what that looks like?
Well, it looks like chaos. It looks like, there's always some kind of discord, conflict, because first of all, you don't know the person. They don't know you. So you don't know how to even communicate with them. So coming into a relationship where you haven't taken the time to get to know yourself and get to know that person is going to be chaotic because you're just now trying to figure the person out. Whereas if you were friends first, if you had that, that camaraderie first, there would be an easiness into the relationship where you wouldn't have to fight and fuss so much. So I tell people all the time, before entering into a relationship, make sure you have a friendship with yourself. Make sure you have that friend, because it's important. If I can't stand my own company, I won't be good company to him or her, right? So having, that relationship with yourself, knowing yourself is better, because now you're able to receive someone and help them through their life's journey, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That is so great. So talking about that, Ms. Lana, if you don't mind me asking, when you first got with your husband, were you friends first?
My husband, oh, I love that man. um,
Look
we let
how
me we
crazy
weren't
I
we
get
we
low.
weren't we weren't friends first per se, but before we physically met, we spent months on the phone, 7 8 months on the phone, and we would talk for hours. So through all those hours of talking, we developed a friendship, right? So when we met, it was just a natural response, like, I've known you for a while, and it was only a few months, and he felt the same way. So having that foundation where you get to know the person outside of a physical, or a sexual level is important, because now you're getting the true person, who he is, who she is, without the filters or the distractions of sex and other factors, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, sex is a key thing. And I understand it's natural, but I honestly really say if you take away the sex, right? And you're in a relationship, it's like, what do you have in common?
Mhm.
If you cannot answer that question, the common denominator is sex. So I am in agreement sometimes when you do meet that person, just hold off a little bit just to see what commonality that you have
Right,
and see if you
right,
actually work together,
right.
because everybody have different goals. Some goals may be
Mhm.
marriage. Some goals may say, hey, I just want to be in a long-term relationship. Whatever that your standpoint is, whatever you desire
Mhm.
is up to you. I can't control that. But I just want people to really take the time and really say, what is your relationship based on?
Yeah, it's important. It's important to have that foundation, because if you don't take the time to develop that friendship, to develop that relationship, then the structure is unstable because the foundation is weak, right? So
Right.
taking the time to get to know the person, who she and he really is important. Just a foundation of the relationship.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna share a little bit of my story because I can talk about myself. I don't have a problem identifying where I went wrong because I was in a
Right.
relationship. I was so crazy head over heel about this guy, and I just thought he was so amazing. And not to say that he's not, but I realized we didn't have the foundation, like you said. We didn't have the friendship. We were just lusting over one another.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then that just end up in chaos. So I'm speaking
Yeah.
from experience where I say, take the time and slow down, like Lourna said, develop a friendship with yourself. If you can't stand yourself, how somebody else is going to stand you?
Exactly.
And
Exactly,
talking about that, I want to know if Lourna, you can give us some tips on fighting fear in a relationship. What does that look like?
Fear is a serious thing. For me, I don't even like to use the word fear. So for me, I would say concerns, right? So when I have certain concerns, with myself, right? I address those, addressing the concerns, because concern will keep you from moving forward in your life, right? Not just in relationship. If you see the world through fear, you will stay stagnant. You will not budge and do a thing, right? But
Right.
learn what is the root of that fear. Why am I afraid to get into this relationship? Why am I afraid to get to know this person? And really go back to your roots and examine, reflect on when that became a thing for you, because you want to address the fear at its root so you can be free from it. So learning, what the different triggers are for you is important. What triggers this fear? Why is there this man? I just met him. He seemed like he's a nice guy. I met this girl. She's a nice girl, but yet I'm hesitant. So learning, to kind of reflect on past relationships, because there's past relationship traumas, right? You
Right.
need to know what in that past relationship that is hindering me from moving forward. So addressing and reflecting is a key to addressing the fears that prevent you from, having a healthy relationship.
Right. It's kind of interesting that you said that because this morning while I was driving, right, I was just thinking to myself, I said, you know what? I think everybody has a little bit of PTSD from,
Oh,
trauma and, in their past. So that's kind of what makes
right.
people hesitant to do certain things. But like you said, once you get past the fear, all things and anything is possible, especially through Christ. So
Amen.
we tackle the fear, that FEAR, but now I want to talk about how do you fight fear with your spouse, and that's FAIR. When you come to things that
Mm.
you can't agree upon, how do you fight fear in the relationship?
Fighting fair, is important, because you never, and here's the keys to it. Never address any issue when you're angry, right? Because when you're angry, you're not going to be fair, because you're looking to get the last word, right? You're looking to, to get the biggest blow. So make sure when you're in a relationship and you're having a disagreement with your spouse, that you take the time just to clear your head. If I'm too angry right now, I will not approach my husband, because I know my words may really hurt, and you can't take back. You can't unsay certain things, right? Like my husband can't unhear hurtful things I say to him. So for me, I just take a pause. I take a pause and I evaluate what I'm about to say. Is it going to help the relationship? Is it necessary right now? How is he going to receive it? Because you want to be mindful of the mind space your partner is in as well. Is he ready to receive what I'm about to say, right? So fighting fair, you have to take into consideration all these factors: your state of being, state of mind, right? His or her state of mind as well. And also, is it necessary to move the relationship forward?
Right. I
Right.
love that part. One thing that stuck out to me, Lana, as you were speaking, is to control your erratic behaviors.
Oh,
Because, like you
yes.
said, when you don't control, you don't think about what mindset is he in. Like you said, is this going to help the relationship? You don't think about this. You just say, I got something to say and I need to say
Right.
it. And I'm speaking to myself first. And I want you to know this. I'm speaking to myself first because I was that person. And please
Okay.
believe me, I did the work on myself. So what you're saying, Miss Lorna, is
Been there, done that too. Been there, done that,
right head, because I want people to understand there is a such thing of joyous relationship. You can have joy in your, it doesn't have to be like you're walking on sticks and stones and you're scared to say the wrong things. If the two people want it bad enough, you can work on it. Do you
hmm
agree?
Right. I agree. But also, I tell people all the time, love is not enough. Love is the least of the things you need to have. Love is not enough to sustain a healthy relationship. You can love someone to pieces, but then they're just not the right fit for you.
Ooh,
I mean, they're not a bad person. It's just they're not the best person for you, right? So loving yourself, loving, yourself is important, because loving each other is just not, that's the foundation, that's the basic of what you need to have, right? So you need to have a friendship, right? You need to have, just genuine care for each other. Like on a human perspective, I respect you. Because I respect you, I'm not gonna say certain things to you, right? Because you respect me, you're not going to say certain things to me. So loving and respecting the person is important. Do you value, their time? Do you value that relationship? That makes a difference too in how you show up in the relationship, you know?
Absolutely. So I do have to piggyback with this question with you because you said the main word was respect. What
Respect.
happens when you lose respect for your spouse and how to knit that back?
When you lose respect for your spouse, it changes the dynamic in the relationship. If I don't respect you, I'm not going to show up in a way that honors you, right? And if I can't honor you as my partner, what do we have? Because we have to honor each other in the relationship. So I don't even know, how to even remedy that. Because once you've lost respect for someone, it's really over,
Yeah.
unless the two individuals are willing to fight through that, and overcome it. And you can fight and overcome it, but you have to do the work. You have to do the work. Go back to the basics. When did I lose respect for him? Or her? When did that happen? What did he or she say that caused me to lose respect for him or her? And then kind of, unpack that and work your way from that. You can recover, but it takes work.
Right. And another thing too, I want to piggyback on that. It's okay to apologize. I think a lot of people have a hard time even for the words to come out their mouth because they're so stubborn or maybe even stuck in their ways. They don't even want to say, I apologize. So me, I say in this season, we always want people to say they apologize to us. But in this season, I want you to say, you apologize. Get used to say, you know what? My apology for not taking responsibility. My apology that I said that the wrong way. There's my apology. I need people to get in the routine of saying that because I think me personally, it helped me. It helped me grow. And if you want to go to the next level, because this is the ending of 2020, and I know all of us went through some type of hell dealing with this coronavirus. And if you're
Oh,
looking for your 2021 to be even more joyous, I said go ahead and apologize for the things that went left in 2020 and before that. Address your past traumas.
oh,
Because
yes, ma'am.
it. And
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
that's why your relationship is not joyous. But if you want joy, you got to bring the joy into the relationship.
But for a relationship to be joyous, you have to check the ego, right? If I'm
Ooh.
having difficulty apologizing, it means I have an inflated, ego, and I have to keep that in check. And how can your relationship be joyous if you are not checked, right? If you love someone and you've harmed them in some way, you're going to apologize because you want that person to be happy in their relationship. Not to say they have to look to you for their happiness, but the way you show up impacts, how they feel in their relationship. So check the ego. Check the ego.
Right. You said it, the way you show up. And because you said that, Lorna, my last question for you is in order for the joyous relationship to continue, can you give us some key things that people can take in mind to make sure they keep the fire and the spice up in their relationship?
Keep the fire, keep the spice. What made you fall in love with that person to begin with, right? Never lose sight of that. I think couples become complacent in relationships
Right.
when they lose sight of what made them initially fall in love with the person, right? And also, date nights, date nights, date day, vacations, these things are important. You have to water the seed continually for it to grow, right? So take into consideration the person, what do they like? How can I grow in that relationship? And also pay attention to your spouse. Pay attention to your partner. People evolve. What they liked yesterday, what they liked last year, they may not like it this year. So keep in sync with your partner so you can know, how to show up for them in a way that will be pleasing to them. And, just check in with each other. Communication is key. Communication is key. Talk to each other, have nightcaps. The kids, is busy during the day. You at work, the kids are around. But at night, before you go to sleep, check in, have a conversation to see how the person, is doing, what mind space they're in, what are they needing from you in their relationship.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people have a challenge when the person that they're with evolve. And I think sometimes too, it can do something to that person's ego because say if this person is like they grew so much that they're not doing the old things that they used to do. You don't even have to nag them anymore. They step their game up. So it's like now that person stepped their game up, now it's time for you to step your game up.
Exactly.
And some people are like, what? I gotta put work in. Yes, you gotta put the work in. That's
a relationship.
That's the message I'm gonna leave with you. You have to,
of course,
put the work in. If you really think you want to come into a relationship and you want people just to continue to sow into you, you are selfish. And I'm sorry, I'm just gonna call you out. But if you want a joyous relationship, you have to be able to
do the work.
You have to be able to compromise. Miss Lourna, is there anything else you would like to tell my audience about joyous relationships before we conclude?
Yes, I will tell your audience, joyous relationship happens only when you are happy. When you are happy within yourself, when you have done the work within yourself, you can show up better in a relationship. So take the time to get to know yourself, get to know what makes you happy, get to know, the ins and the inner workings of yourself. So when you go into a relationship, then, you are secure. There's not the where you going, who you with. No, you know your man or your woman said, I'm going this way, and that's okay. All right, babe, have fun. So get to know yourself and get to know your partner.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Miss Lourna. So can you please tell us a little bit about your agency?
Yes, GraceLi Counseling Services is my private practice. We're located in East Stroudsburg, 529 7 Braid Road, East Stroudsburg, Suite 102. And our phone number, I can never remember it. It's 570-431-3081. 570-431-3081. And I'm very active on social media. So GraceLi Counseling Services and at GraceLi Counseling on Instagram. So check us out. We're taking new clients. We're here to help.
How are you spelling GraceLi?
So Grace, GRACE, capital LI, GraceLi.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Everyone, I hope you enjoy this. Miss Lourna Charles, thank you for being with me today. Everyone,
thank you for having me.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I had to bring flawless. Listen, and I definitely got to say this before we leave. Guys, doesn't she look flawless? She looks so flawless, and this is what I had to have on today's episode of I'm sorry, I said flawless relationship. We should say flawless relationship. That's another time, but joyous relationship because I actually saw joy and the glow of the Lord on her, and I said, "What other person and deliver this to my audience?" So again, I thank you, Miss Charles. I thank you, everyone. And continue to follow the Lady K Chat podcast on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. And our website is www.ladykeenterprisesinc.com. And K is spelled K-A-Y. Everyone, you have a great and blessed night.
Bye.
Lady K.